Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. My name is Artem, and here is the news. For 937 days, Ukraine defends itself against the forces of the Russian invasion. Ukraine's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has appealed to the United Nations and the International Committee of the Red Cross to join humanitarian response efforts in the areas of Russia's Kursk Oblast currently under the control of Ukrainian forces, reports Ukrainska Pravda. The ministry emphasized that Ukraine follows all norms and principles of international humanitarian law and human rights while effectively controlling certain areas of Russia's Kursk Oblast. This includes protecting civilians during combat operations. Dmitry Peskov, the Kremlin spokesperson, described the invitation as a quote-unquote a provocation. He called on the UN and the International Committee of the Red Cross to not perceive such provocative statements. Igor Hitikhy, spokesperson for the Ukraine's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, said that Russia is afraid of international monitors seeing the true state of affairs in the region, and their statement shows Russia's disregard for its own people and their humanitarian needs. In his union video address, President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky informed that he held meetings in various formats to prepare the Ukrainian victory plan. Quote, the real substance of all the points, military, political, diplomatic, and economic. Key people from each sector are involved. The necessary steps for Ukraine have already been clearly defined, unquote, said the head of state. The president stressed that for each point of the plan there is a clear list of what is needed and what will strengthen Ukraine. According to him, over 90% of the plan has already been written out and will be presented next week to Ukraine's allies. Special forces of Ukraine's defense intelligence attacked a Russian military base in Syria on the morning of Sunday, September 15th, according to a Kyiv Post source in military intelligence. The operation took place on the southeastern outskirts of Aleppo. The base targeted by the special forces was used by Russians to manufacture and test strike unmanned aerial vehicles, as well as to produce camouflaged improvised explosive devices, whose warheads were stored at the site. According to Kyiv Post sources in the special service, the Himik group carried out another complex strike on Russian forces in Syria in late July 2024. That time, the target of the attack was Russian military equipment at the airfield located east of Aleppo. We would really appreciate if you could recommend us to your friends and family, as well as share information on social media. This way more people would learn about the podcast and truth about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The Toronto International Film Festival has set a new screening date for the controversial film Russians at War by a Russian director after cancelling the first screening amid a barrage of criticism, reports European Pravda. The screening of the film Russians at War by Russian director Anastasia Trofimtseva is scheduled for Tuesday, 17th of September. Earlier, the festival organizing committee cancelled the initial screening of the film, citing security concerns. However, they stated that the film would still be shown at a later date when it is safe to do so. Yulia Kovalyev, Ukraine's ambassador to Canada, expressed disappointment that the festival's statement regarding the cancellation did not acknowledge its mistake. The Canadian media organization TVO, which had funded the production of the film, decided not to air it in the future following the public outcry. Russians at War was screened at the Venice International Film Festival on 5th of September. The director said she had spent 7 months with the Russian battalion fighting in Ukraine, and it came as a shock to her to see that they were absolutely ordinary guys with families and a sense of humor. Ukraine and its partner countries see the documentary as an example of propaganda about good Russians. Thank you for listening to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, a non-commercial initiative of just two people, and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we are getting better. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.